Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Apoorv Malik, and I am the host of today's webinar and welcome you all here in this webinar session being conducted by TNB Academy. It gives me immense pleasure to introduce our guest speaker for today's webinar, Mr. Ajay Bajpai. The topic of discussion for today's webinar, which Mr. Ajay Bajpai will be discussing, is OHSMS policy, which is covered under clause 5.2 of ISO 45001 Occupational Health and Safety Management System Standard. Mr. Ajay Bajpai has audited several organizations for various management system standards and has helped several others for their implementation. If we talk about his educational background, then our distinguished speaker, Mr. Ajay Bajpai, has done his bachelor's in engineering in metallurgy stream. Also, he is a lead auditor for ISO 9001, 14001, 45001, 37001, 22000, 27001, 13485, 22301, and 50001 standards, respectively. If we talk about his overall experience, then he has an industrial experience of around 15 plus years as implementer of management system standards and around 32 plus years in auditing and certification. He has been imparting training to a number of organizations, entrepreneurs, and individuals on various topics related to ISO terminologies and their certification and implementation. This was just a brief introduction of our guest speaker today. And now, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Mr. Ajay Bajpai. I may request Mr. Ajay Bajpai now to please take over and start the webinar.
Thank you, Apoorv, and the team of participants for this webinar, which is being organized by us in continuation to many other webinars which we are conducting, so that our knowledge gained by our group, by our team, which is a global team into training and certification, is shared by the global community who are into ISO various standard implementation and who will be benefiting from this knowledge and experience which we will be sharing on a regular basis. So today we will be discussing the subject of policy, safety policy. I mean, if we are talking of industrial situations, we will be talking as direct as safety policy, because everybody wants to talk about safety policy. As per the standard, it is occupational health and safety policy. But generally, when we are into industry, operators, workers, the implementers, they discuss safety policy. So more or less, we will be talking about the safety policy here, so that is the implementation of the 45001 standard as the base in many situations from the documentation and establishment of the OH&S policy. So how we do it? It includes a commitment to provide safe and healthy working conditions. Okay, so it is representing the commitment of the top management, so that the healthy and safe working conditions are created and the prevention of work related injury and ill health. See, the basic concept of the standard and the requirement here is to see that work related injuries and ill health is being prevented, is being controlled, and the policy is appropriate to the purpose. I mean, every organization have got a different purpose, they have got different size, they have got different context of organization as per their scope, as per their internal plans, external plan, internal resources, external resources, and so on. And they have got a specific nature when they are operating for the health and safety risks and the opportunity. As we have been discussing, the risk and opportunity go side by side. So occupational health and safety risk and opportunities also needs to be identified, and our policy is development stage and established in such a way that these requirements are being met with. So risk and opportunity of health and safety are being addressed by the safety policy. All right. So it also provides a framework for setting the OH&S objectives, how the safety policy will be implemented, how the intent of the safety policy will be met with, how all this will happen. This will happen with the support of setting of the OH&S objectives. So the policy is providing a situation, a framework, a method, so that the objectives are set and objectives are being implemented, so that the policy is being established, it is implemented, and it is controlling the injury and health situation as per the status of the organization, as per the risk and opportunities desired from the implementation of policy in the organization. The policy also includes a commitment to fulfill legal and other requirements. We have got to move with the legal requirement as per the health and safety of the state, of the district, of the country, and other requirements which may be coming into picture from the customer's requirement, from the final customer's requirement, maybe supplier's requirement, maybe the other requirement coming from the interested party. So we need to see that our OH&S policy is meeting the other requirements along with the legal requirement also. So that commitment needs to be reflected, to be represented from the establishment of the OH&S policy, that yes, we will be doing this as a means of the implementation of the policy. Also, it includes a commitment to eliminate hazards. There are hazards identification being done by HERA activity. So those hazards are identified, and we need to see that our policy is focusing towards the and showing a commitment for the elimination of the hazards. And also it is reducing the occupational health and safety risks, which are stated into clause 8.1.2. Most of the clauses are interrelated, as we discussed into the management system, particularly OH&S management system. So we have to see that yes, the interrelation of the requirement is understood and being implemented through our policy wherever it is getting linked to other clauses. Also, we need to see that our policy includes a commitment to continual improvement. Continual improvement of what? Our occupational health and safety management system. We have got a management system which we are going to implement, which we are aiming for certification finally. We are going for value addition from that by reducing the OH&S risk. So we need to see that the continual improvement is being reflected, a commitment is shown by the OH&S policy, and we move on. So this was the theme for the OH&S policy as per clause 5.2. We go further. Also, the policy needs to include further things, which is commitment to consultation and participation of workers. This standard, when it has been revised, it has brought the consultation and participation in a big way into the requirement, and they have seen it very clearly, and we as an auditors also witness it by conducting the audits and trading into the organization, that workers make a very clear role into the implementation of OH&S systems. So the policy also needs to include the commitment of the organization to show that we are consulting the workers, we are consulting the operators to see that their involvement is seen clearly and improvements are brought and risks are being reduced and finally eliminated and eliminated and eliminated. So their participation is very important. And also it said some situation when we are into the office situations, so there may be less role of the workers and participation, but to whatever extent they are existing, we may talk of the photocopying operator, the cleaning operator, the cleaning worker, and their representatives. So they all, the commitment to their representatives also needs to be shown by the policy, that workers representation is there into the OH&S management system. So we need to include that while establishing the health and safety policy. Also, the policy shall include what should be doing, what, how should be established. The policy needs to be available as a documented information. When we are getting into third party audits, we want to see a document developed by the company which is clearly stating the OH&S policy, which indicates the commitment of the top management and else, which we have discussed in the first slide. So now it is a documented information available to us. Then what do we do? The organization needs to communicate within the organization. Communication of concepts we always say: the health and safety policy, health and safety concept, the risk reduction, the risk and opportunity of the health and safety management system. They are to be communicated, you know, by focusing on to the OH&S policy, because it includes those elements into it. So now it is being communicated within the organization. So the team is readily understanding the concept and they move forward. It should also be available to the interested parties as appropriate. There are many interested parties into our business situations. We have got suppliers, we have got customers, we have got final customers, we have got trainers, consultant, auditors. We have got staff team available with us. We have got the supporting team available with us. We have got transporters. We have got suppliers of material. So as and appropriateness of this thing, this should be available to interested parties, and we need to ensure that yes, they have received it and they understand it when we see into the auditing situation. Relevant and appropriate. The language of the policy, it should be relevant with the operations of the organization, the business process of the organization, and it should be appropriate to the purpose. There should not be a mismatch. Sometime into third party auditing, we see that the organization's function, the health and safety, risk and opportunities are little different from what they have, documented and trying to available as OH&S policy. So we need to raise a situation of non-conformity and observation into various kinds of second party, third party audits if they are not relevant and if they are not appropriate to the subject of health and risk and ill health control and risk and opportunity controls of a industrial organization manufacturing maybe the cars or motorcycle. So they need to be relevant to their functions. As an automotive organization dealing with a lot of machinery and equipment, they have got painting shops, they have got assembly shops, they have got drilling operations going on. So how those things will be mixed with the OH&S policy, that needs to be seen. Okay, so these are the requirements of the policy which we have discussed. So we go further. What are the desired results? When we are going to discuss the OH&S policy, what are we actually aiming at? The organizational team is trained onto the concept of the occupational health safety policy. So as I discussed, the concepts is very important, not the words, not only the simple meanings, but going into the concept. What are we going to achieve by safety policy? That needs to be trained, and that should go into the team, blood of the team, that yes, now we are going to be a safety concerned organization, safety concerned team. We have started implementing OH&S safety policy into our organization. And then it also gives an assurance that yes, we are going to implement OH&S system. So what happens? The management system of safety is being achieving its results, that yes, we are going to meet the requirements of the ISO 45001 2018 standard. So also it meets the global requirement of health and safety. Our visitors, when we are having the visitors, when our machines and equipment are being supplied globally, how safe they are when they are being operational, if they are supplied from Singapore to Hong Kong, how the safety is being ensured, how the new safety design features have been taken care of the machines, how they have been converted into the instructions of the safety manual of the machines, so that the operator, when he is implementing it into a Hong Kong manufacturing unit, he is going to see that yes, those new requirements of health and safety are being met with and they are into the safety manual of the machines. And also see that customer requirements are met. Many customers have got a requirement from their suppliers and vendors that yes, they need to go for OH&S certification, 45,000 certification. Why? Because they want them to be safe. They want their machines and operations to be safe. They want their activities, interrelated activities, interfacing to be safe. They want the organization to be working under a safe condition, controlling the ill health and risk activity, so that their operations are safe and activities are going on as per the requirement of the products, process, and the supplies are met with. If accident takes place, supplies will be hindered in the process. So that is the idea, that customer requirement in time supply with meeting the health and safety requirements are met with. Also, is auditable and questions and answers clarity comes. The language should be clear, meaningful, and logical. So that when internal audit is going on or external audit is going on, the auditors can ask clear questions and the answers can be given by understanding the concepts by the team. So they can explain, the language should be clear, it should be logical and meaningful. Sometimes into the auditing, we need to raise issues by way of non-conformities and observation, because there's a problem into the understanding of the language. The meaning is not coming out clearly from the safety policy. Organization wants to say something very good because they are the top management had given a direction, but while going through various process of documentation and establishment of the policy, sometimes the variation comes into when we go for the methods of the documentation. So the variation needs to be caught when we are into the auditing. So it should be logical and meaningful. So that is the idea, so that conceptually we go on with the further development. Also, it meets the needs of the interested parties. We have got interested parties for our survival as an organization to manufacture the cars or motorbikes. So, how the interested party needs will be met. So, we need to see by way of safety policy that their requirement and needs are also met with. Whatever they think as a health and safety requirement controls needs to be met with by the documentation and implementation of the health and safety policy of the organization as a manufacturer or as a service organization. At times when we are going for certification or health and safety implementation by way of OH&S policy implementation. It has come out as a vision and mission of the top management. The top management has been the one who has initiated the OH&S policy direction to the organization team, and their vision and mission should be met with the documentation and further implementation of the health and safety policy into the organization. So the documentation, implementation, and further improvement should be as per the intent of the top management, which they thought initially, yes, this is the safety policy as we thought as an organization. So we go further. We go into the planning activity. What do we do now? Documentation and approvals take place. Initial theme has come from the top management, then it comes to the coordinator, the trainer, maybe the consultant, and the documentation is going on into the company. Then it is drafted and approvals are done. Yes, this is the right meaningful language policy we have drafted. So approvals are done, and then the training activity goes on. We need to plan the training of the health and safety policy into the organization, by various means, classroom trainings, online training, webinars, whatever way we have the organization method of training, documentation goes on for health and safety policy. Displays are done, various kind of displays of safety policy are done. Physical displays, policy cards are developed, entry points have the policy display, the boards are there, so that the staff team, the interested parties, the visitors are able to look at the health and safety policy, and they are understanding, yes, this organization, this ABC car manufacturer is going for health and safety certification. So they have got a policy. So we need to look at and see, yes, oh, we are going to an organization, we take care of our health also when we are into the organization. This is also needs to be made available onto the websites, so that our customer, our interested parties, all are able to see our intent as a motorbike manufacturer, that yes, ABC manufacturing motorbike company is having a health and safety policy, and these are the intentions. So we take care of you when you visit us. We take care of supplies and of the machines and equipment as a bike accessory parts. At times maybe some machines are also being supplied to the some assemblers who are a part of our motorcycle manufacturing units. So they are aware that yes, there is a safety policy of the company. So we need to also focus and see that we can support the organization in meeting the health and safety requirements. And also we as a supplier or member of interested party team are also keeping healthy and safe by way of the health and safety policy. It is also being documented, implemented, circulated, percolated, conceptually understood into the organization by various software. SAP, ERP, and other softwares are available when OHSMS is being implemented into my unit, when I am manufacturing maybe the silencer into my company and going for OHSMS certification. So I have got number of softwares available, and I will see that I am planning the implementation by utilizing the software, and the team is getting aware of that. Also we are communicating it within the organization thoroughly and all interested parties, communication by these various methods as we discussed, so that when we are into auditing situations, we ask the questions how it has been communicated, what is the way of communications, have the teams understood it, including the interested parties, so that they are moving along in the same direction as we as an implementer has thought of implementing safety policy into the organization, including the interested parties. So the planning activity is done. Now our actions are further being put into activities of OH&S policy implementation throughout the organization. So now we implement the actions as per the policy plan. There are many organizations who will be having a work instruction, maybe some multinational organizations where many units are there. They may have SOPs and procedures for the policy implementation. So we implement the actions, whatever step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 of the plan. And then once we have done that, we are monitoring all the processes related to health and safety of the organizational team, implementation plan of the team for the risk elimination, for the health and safety improvements of the organization. And we see that, yes, we are seeing it in light of the OH&S policy. Policy is being implemented and monitored along with various processes, because for example we have got a design process which may not be directly related sometimes, but sometimes we are going for a design change which may have some risk associated with us, and machine is going to have various other risk associated while running a new process with a new design. So the design policy for health and safety risk is being implemented, so we monitor that. Stores management system is being modified with respect to some risk and health policy implemented from October 2022 onwards in a silencer manufacturing unit when they are unloading the silencer component. So they have to monitor that plan into the source activity. Then we also do the analysis of the policy simultaneously. And when implementation is being done, action plan is being monitored, and processes are being monitored. We When we have drafted the policy initially, we are into the analytical situation of policy, how the policy is being implemented into various sets, various organizations, various units. So we do the analysis of a draft, how good or how not good it is for further implementation, and development of policy chart of implementation. So when we are implementing, we are further revising, we further redevelop the policy chart of implementation. One chart implemented is not forever. The situations are changing, the implementation methods have changed, the implementation status have changed, the training has been done. So now the team is more aware. So the policy chart is further being developed and redeveloped as we go on into the process of health and safety policy implementation into the organization. All right. So implementation is further going on. It is an ongoing process for an organization to see that this is an ongoing process with respect to the policy. Even after certification, there are surveillances, there are recertification. So this is running of the system is on all the time, and we verify it. Yes, that what is the extent of the implementation today. 3 years back, we have audited and certification has been done of this organization. So what is the situation now when we come into recertification situation? How the process with respect to policy is being run, and how the functions are being cooperating, and how the cross-functional teams are working. Also, we need to see that the policy implementation effectiveness is being enhanced all the time. We started implementation from July 2022. Now we are seeing into the first internal audit when we are conducting into maybe the November end month. So we see that yes, what is the effectiveness? We need to enhance by way of training, further correction and improvements of the documentation, further implementation method, further visibility, further display, further utilization of the hardware or software, whatever we have. So we need to see that effectiveness is enhancement is an ongoing process. Policy drafting needs to be improved. Policy development needs to be improved further. And also we need to update the data in policy and objective planning charts. When we have gone into the planning activity, we have made these plans into the chart that yes, from July onward, this is how we will be developing the policy. This is how the objectives will be further supporting the implementation of the safety policy. So we are getting the data after implementation. So we need to keep on updating the data in the chart so that our current implementation is with respect to the latest plans of ours as an organization, as an implementers. And when we are internally auditing, we see that yes, the data is updated. The policy and objective chart, which was drafted in the month of July, has been gone into a revision 2. They have revised once in month of August. It is now revision 2 of the policy and objective chart. So we are yes seeing it positively that yes, the changes are going on, implementation is going on, and health and safety policy is an live activity going on in the organization. We always say conduct the accurate and precise calculations after implementation. We see that yes, into two of the units, 80% implementation has been done. So there's a calculation going on. Unit number 3 and 4, the safety policy is implemented to the extent of 95%. In another unit 4, or say stores area of unit 2 4 by 1, it has been implemented 94.8%. That means we need to see the correct and accurate calculations after the implementation, not just say that yes, implementation is going on good, implementation is well, oh, implement is excellent. That will not give us any direction for further implementation and improvement. So we need to make calculations, right calculation, precise calculation, go and then plan how much are we lagging from achieving our 100% target of implementation to the stores 1 by 2 of the unit 3. So that's the way we go on. And the facts and figures are always reviewed. We need to see the facts and figures, and we involve the team of the organization, interested parties, and all. As we said in the beginning, involvement and the role of and the commitment toward the workers and operators, because they are ultimately the implementing. That is the key to success of health and safety policy implementation. So we need to involve the team. We take the feedback and then we go on further implementation. So we go further. Now the documentation implementation is going on into the organization for last 3-4 months. So we are into the month of November, and now started from July 2022, and now November, and we need to see the study of the charts into small groups and cross-functional teams. We have into design functional, we have got a team. Into the stores management, we have got a team. And when we are going for initial implementation, we develop the core group, the small groups for implementation. So these groups need to further study our health and safety policy charts and see the directions, how the implementation is taking place into the organization, various units, various departments, various functions, and we plan by monitoring and implementing the data by various techniques. When we have got the data, so this data needs to be analyzed, this data needs to be understood by the team that yes, we started implementation into my silencer manufacturing unit into Singapore. Now the policy is also being implemented 80% into my Hong Kong unit, 90% into my the Timbuktu unit, 95% into my UA unit, and so on. So we study this data and we come out with the plans to further move on implementation so that further improvements are taking place, further effectiveness of policy is taking place. So what we do now after this situation, when we have the data with us, we have implemented for 3 4 months into the organization with a department function, maybe 6 months depending upon the nature, size, organizational type. We go for an effective conduct of internal audit of OH&S policy implementation. So we need to be careful here that auditor selector for conducting internal audit needs to understand the concept of health and safety policy. They need to understand the requirement which are laid down into 5.2 documentation into our manufacturing units, our manual, our procedures, and corresponding hardware software way of implementation we have. We need to give enough inputs to the internal auditors so that they can verify it with the objective view that yes, health and safety policy drafted 6 months back is reaching this situation now. So we need to see what further plans we can develop. We have done study, we have got a small group activity, so now effective internal audit is done by a trained team of auditors. The coordinators need to provide them a good developed checklist with respect to health and safety policy implementation checking, not a general thing. Yes, you go and audit a policy, because into third party auditing we have seen that sometimes the audit reports of 5.2 OH&S policy had not given us much input, much data to see that further improvement plans are being documented by the company, and they have verified it objectively to see that yes, it had gone into the blood and into the blood cells of the workers and operators and managers and implementers of the various teams. And also they have to verify that yes, it has been communicated, it has been understood by the interested parties, it has gone to the statutory regulatory boards as required, it has met the other requirements of the customer as we have discussed through OH&S policy implementation, and a good report is being generated by the team of internal auditors so that the same is going for what further actions, so that the implementation can be further refined, it can be further effectiveness is further enhanced. We can further see that yes, further improvement on policy implementation are taking place and plans are being generated. So once we have this charts, the NC observations chart, this file of internal audit is developed by the team, then we go for a effective review of policy in management review meeting. Now we get down to a situations into the December first week, and we say that yes, internal audit has been conducted into the month of November into the various departments, various functions, and the summary is prepared. We have got say 9 non-conformity and 5 observations and 10 other points in front of us coming out as a report of the internal audit. So the team is here to discuss the further improvement into the effectiveness enhancement of the safety policy, and as a team, we are discussing it and we plan the actions for further enhancement by way of resources implementation, resource enhancement, further training done, further display done, further review done, further maybe modifications done, maybe the language improvements, maybe the meaningful intention of the policy and related objectives. Maybe when we discuss the chart from the data here, that policy was being implemented through the objectives. So now we have got the data which is showing that there is a mislink of the policy and objectives implementation. So we discuss all these points into the review meeting where the documentation team, the implementation team, where the core team of the cross-functional, as we decide into the team members are available into this review meeting, and action plans are discussed, responsibilities are decided further that yes, unit 1 94.5% implementation needs to be further enhanced to 98% in next 1 month, because thereafter we may go for stage 1 audit of 45,001 into Singapore unit to start with, maybe. So something like that needs to be planned. And who is responsible? The plant head is responsible. The documentation coordinator sitting in Singapore is further responsible for interfacing and further documentation with the Singapore and Hong Kong units. And maybe when we are into the same unit in UAE, the stores and the inspection team will further coordinate, their managers will further coordinate the policy implementation, because there was a link which was missing from the incoming inspection, material loading, unloading to the support by the transportation given by the stores management team. So these kinds of things are discussed in details in the management review meeting, and we come out with a plan and we set targets. Yes, this is what we'll be discussing and improving further to see that yes, we number one are satisfied with our own target, with our own plans. Number two, we can be satisfied throughout our internal audit when we are going for the closing of the non-conformities and actions on observation and other points. And number three, maybe when we are planning for stage 1 audit as being thought of to be conducted into the month of January 2023, maybe. So these things are being streamlined, and yes, we are reaching a situation where we can apply to certification body for conduct of the third party auditing, maybe. So these things are being implemented and being monitored for further actions and future actions. What all we have thought of here as a closures, what all we have thought of internal audit charts, what all we have thought of as a actions, responsibilities into the management review meeting, OHS review meeting, and whatever improvement plan, continual improvement we have thought in clause 10.2 through going from 5.2. So we implement and monitor the further actions, whatever risk and opportunities we have thought, which had come from clause 8.2, interlinked as we discussed, they are being implemented, and opportunities into the health and safety policy, the risk reduction, the illness control, the wellness control, the control of accidents and near miss accidents, whatever we have addressed through OH&S policy and objectives is being implemented, and further plans are being developed by the team. And improvement are seen clearly after conducting all this exercise. We see that yes, the safety policy has brought further improvement. Safety policy itself has further improvement by all these actions. The meaningfulness have improved, the language has improved, the display has improved, the knowledge level of the conceptualization by the interested parties involvement, by the input of the customers have reached a situation where they can go for now third party certification. So now we have got the certification functions available here. We have got certification bodies websites here, which we can go and study, which are knowledge based. A lot of inputs are there into our websites, which can provide you further knowledge to understand further implementation methods, further certification processes, further inputs on training, and so on. So we have discussed the occupational health and safety policy and saying now throughout the training session, and whenever we are into auditing and this thing, we always say yes, safety policy establishment has been done, documentation has been done, it is linked to the objectives and then health and safety risk, and this also has a commitment towards the injury reduction, ill health control, and it is always depending upon the nature and size of the organization, what risk and opportunity they will have, depending upon their manufacturing type and their organization setup. As I said, it includes a commitment for consultation and participation of the workers, because health and safety policy implementation, the reduction of the any kind of unwanted situation into the manufacturing, which may call a risk for the operation, for the implementer, for the organizational team, for the workers representative involvement, is all shown into the policy documentation and implementation, and it is documented, it is implemented, it is available to interested parties, and the purpose and these things are discussed into that. And then we have discussed what are the results. The team is trained on the concepts, interested party requirements are met, top management vision and directions is being met through implementation of policy with the support of objectives further as we discussed, and we are planning it through documentation. Approvals are taking place, reapprovals are taking place as desired. Anybody and everybody cannot approve a revision, so that concept needs to be clear into the organization. And we keep on training, retraining, display and redisplay, implementing through various software, hardware systems, websites, and so on. And the policy plans are reviewed, analysis is being done, monitoring is being done, charts are being further developed, implementation is going on through initial phases and throughout the surveillance into the recertification, and maybe after 9 years of the certification, we have got companies, we are running into the second or third cycle of the certifications, so it is the sixth year or seventh year of certification. So it can be reviewed, and enhancement is of policy is being done all the time, and updation of charts is being done continuously, continual improvement is being brought, correct and accurate calculations of the by way of percentage, by way of document data, mathematical calculations are showing us the directions, so that we can take correct actions for further improvements. And analysis and future actions are being planned by involvement of the team, by techniques used for data analysis, by effective conduct of internal audit of the safety policy system and implementation, and review into a review meeting, management review meeting, OH&S review meeting, so that the further implementation and monitoring of the actions is being done, and improvement are being brought into the implementation of the health and safety policy into the organization. So this is what I thought I will discuss today as a practical implementer for an organization, so that it is bringing an improvement on and also the plans of the SDG Sustainable Development Globe. Sustainable Development plans are being globally developed and implemented further. So if you have any questions, you can ask me. Thank you. Any questions you have, Apoor and another team members?
If anyone has any questions, they can please ask. If any of the participants do not have any questions as of now, I would request them that you can always watch this particular webinar again through our YouTube channel, because it will be posted there for free. And if you have any questions, then you can please submit your questions in the comment section of the video, and we will be sharing those questions with Mr. Ajay Bajpai, and he will be really happy answering them. So we can now come to the conclusion of this particular session. I would say that we are all very glad that we have been benefited by the immense knowledge shared by Mr. Ajay Bajpai on such a vast and complex terminology, which is also a very critical element in the ISO 45001 standard. I can also say with much confidence that the participants must have, understood properly that what are the basic elements of OHSMS policy and how it should be formed within the organization, and what are the other aspects of OHSMS policy, which Mr. Ajay Bajpai shared, that it should be communicated, it should be documented as well. I thank you from the bottom of my heart, Mr. Ajay Bajpayee, on behalf of TNV Academy for giving me your valuable time and accepting our invitation to be the guest speaker for today. I'll also thank all the participants for taking out time from their busy schedule and joining us in this webinar today. Hope to see you all again soon with an exciting new topic. I wish you all the best from behalf of TNV Academy for all your future endeavors. Thank you so much for participation.